the time has come again. We will now, today, figure out which of these two characters is stronger. One Piece power scaling is crazy, and looking at these two characters, let's reveal it now, Inupe and Kelly Funk, I am really wondering who of those is going to come out on top in a 1 versus 1. Nobody else is going to help them. So Inupe is obviously the person who also has Sanji's shadow in him, and it's not just a lifeless zombie. So he is technically Sanji, but in a body from some sort of penguin dog with hat. No idea what's going on over there. And Kelly Funk, we all know him, he's the majestic user of the jacket fruit, but sadly he doesn't have his brother Bobby helping him out. So the jacket fruit actually is mostly unusable in this combat, but he is still not weak. He is trained in boxing, so let's see how that turns out. And he has the star birthmark, so maybe he is actually part of the Joestar family from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Today, just like always when we do these random verses in One Piece, we are going to take a look at what the characters achieved. Their destructive power, their technique and weapon mastery, their speed, intelligence, durability, endurance, luck, and a few other factors. And then once these things have been decided, we have already determined a winner, and once these things are decided, we have already determined a winner because it's basically a point system. So let's get to it. First of all, backstory for both of them. Inupe is only somebody we have seen in the Thriller Bark arc. He was the zombie that got Sanji's shadow, and the only reason why Inupe got Sanji's shadow is because Maria and the people from the Thriller Bark didn't know that Sanji was actually a strong fighter. They did not recognize Sanji because of the whole thing of his bounty poster, where it's not really him but a drawn person, and they just didn't recognize Sanji. So that makes us think that the body of Inupe is not really that strong. While Sanji's shadow at that point of time is actually quite powerful, Inupe is not the best zombie for that. So it's basically Sanji but downgraded. And Kelly Funk, well, he himself is also, he's not weak, but he mostly relies on his jacket power, where his physically stronger and tougher human brother just wears him as a jacket and then he takes over that body. But if he is by himself, he is quite small. He is still bigger than Inupe, but he is smaller than many other characters in the One Piece world. He is not weak. It is said that in his time active as an assassin and bounty hunter in the world, he took down many people with over 100 million berry bounty. With the current part of One Piece that we are in, that doesn't sound too impressive, but technically when we were still in the part of Dressrosa, 100 million berry is still something that we see as quite high. So the idea is he basically took those down probably in cooperation with his brother. So how high would he actually be able by himself? Because his own bounty is only 57 million berry. And that is technically lower than the bounty of the shadow of Sanji that is now in Inupe. Obviously Inupe is a downgrade and bounty is not only about strength and all of these things, but those are all the facts we need to know. Now, let's come to destructive power. When we look at the two different things, we also need to consider power creep, because Kelly Funk was introduced in the Dressrosa arc and Inupe was in the Thriller Bark arc. But the Thriller Bark arc always stood out to me as an arc where the Straits were basically powerless. They could not have won unless Luffy absorbed over 100 shadows and turned into Nightmare Luffy. So that just shows how powerful Ors and Moria actually were. Obviously Sanji managed to defeat Absalom and Zoro managed to defeat Ryuma and all of these other things, Usopp against Perona, but without Nightmare Luffy, all of them still would have ended up dead or just imprisoned on Thriller Bark. And that's just the fact about this arc. So Inupe is also not weak. I think this is very close to being a tie. But I know that Sanji's power is stronger than Kelly Funk's, even back in that arc. So I would say, even with a downgraded body like Inupe, that basically means that this zombie, Inupe, is going to take our point with destructive power. And now we come to technique. I don't want to talk too much about that, just think about it. Kelly is trained in boxing, obviously, but he is still just trained in boxing. Sanji is trained in the black leg fighting style, and that fighting style, or in the red leg fighting style what Seth used, that is an incredibly strong kicking style. And Sanji is obviously, well, not Sanji, and Inupe, because he has the shadow of Sanji, is obviously way more trained in these kicking things than Kelly. And kicking kind of has more reach than punching, but considering Inupe's body, that is also equal out. But still, Inupe is better in the technique and weapon mastery compared to Kelly Funk, so that's already 2-0. And it's going to continue just this way, because in speed, obviously Inupe is going to win once again, because obviously he's a penguin. Penguins are fast. And here's Sanji's shadow, that also makes him even faster. That's a big dub. And then we come to intelligence. Well, Inupe has not been shown to be that smart, but technically Sanji is smart, so he should be just as smart. And Kelly Funk, well, he is a strategist as far as I can remember. So let's see how it's going to turn out. Yeah, no, Kelly is actually not that smart, so that is another victory for Inupe, and it's already 4-0. But we have to remember, destructive power was quite close, so maybe we can turn it around and make it a 3-1, or we're going with the 4-0 and it's just how it is. Durability. Durability and endurance are always 2 points where I don't know if people really understand it. Durability is basically your defense stat. How much the damage gets reduced when it gets into your body. And endurance is your stamina of how much damage you can take. It's hard to find a really good example for that in the One Piece world, because many characters have both good durability and good endurance, but they are separate things. And Kelly Funk has not shown very good durability feats. He was defeated by Boo, which is the younger brother of Sai, who is a member of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet and the whole thing with the Hapo Navy. You know, you remember Dressrosa. And Boo defeated Kelly Funk pretty much until Kelly Funk turned into a jacket and then fused together with Bobby Funk, where he basically got the power up to be able to win. But the problem is Bobby's not here, so his durability is bad. Inupe is a stitched together zombie. But those zombies were stitched together by a master surgeon known as Hogback. And Hogback is thought to be the surgeon who also discovered how much the soul weighs in human bodies. So Inupe probably is quite tough, and endurance-wise, also another win for Inupe because Sanji is not going to give up. Endurance is basically also another word for willpower in the world of One Piece, because if you have enough willpower, your endurance also increases and you just continue to fight even if you're down on the ground. So that already makes it a 6-0. We all know now that Inupe is obviously going to win this, but let's take a look at the last point, luck. Technically speaking, neither of those two is lucky. Kelly was not really blessed by height, and the Devil Fruit he ate was also pretty mediocre, or some even call it the worst Devil Fruit in the entire series. Inupe only got created because he was unlucky. If Sanji actually was somebody they recognized, he would have not been put into the body of Inupe. That already marks him as something very, very unlucky. So I don't want to give out this point. Neither side, neither Inupe nor Kelly Funk are lucky. So none of them are going to get that point, and it's going to end in a 6-0. And it's quite a dominating victory. Not something we had so far in these type of videos, but that's just how I stand to it. Inupe, which is filled with the shadow of Sanji during the Thriller Bark arc, is stronger than Kelly Funk that we saw during the Dressrosa arc. If you disagree with me, tell me in the comments, but if you agree with me, you can also tell me in the comments. I like to make these videos because it makes me look at two characters that I would normally never see fight against each other, and that's just something we can all enjoy, I think. But that's all from me for today. All that's left to be said is stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay cultured. Pyro, out. Bye!